The cold wind blew across the streets of Damas 9, a gray and dusty alien city where hope felt like a forgotten word. Most people walked fast, heads down, afraid to get involved in anything that wasn't their business. In the middle of that cruel city, a little alien girl ran barefoot. Her skin was light blue, her large eyes full of tears. Her small hands clutched the edge of a worn cloth, but she could barely hold it. She wasn't carrying a toy. She was dragging it over something heavy. Her mother, the alien woman behind her, lay flat on the cold ground, her body shaking nonstop. Her eyes were half open, lips trembling, and strange foam was forming at the corners of her mouth. "Please, help my mom," the little girl cried out. Nobody stopped. Some looked for a second, then turned their heads away. A few even laughed or muttered, "Why should I care?" Others walked faster, ignoring the scene completely. The girl pulled harder, but her small body was too weak. She knelt down and screamed, "Please, fix my mom, she won't stop shaking." She touched her mother's face. It was burning hot. Her hands were ice cold. The shaking had gotten worse in the last few hours. Her mother had whispered one word before she collapsed: "Run." Now the girl had no idea what to do. She was only a child, and that's when a man stopped. He wasn't from Damas 9. He was a human. A tall figure in worn-out armor, with a long coat and a visible scar over one eye. He walked with a limp, and a strange machine buzzed softly from his belt. He didn't say anything at first. He knelt next to the woman and touched her neck. Her pulse was fast, too fast. Her breathing was rough. He looked at the little girl. "How long has she been like this?" he asked. "I don't know," the girl said. "She was fine this morning, then she fell down shaking. I tried to get help, but no one wants to help." The human looked around. The street was still busy, but no one paid attention. No one wanted trouble. "What's your name?" he asked. "Zali." He pointed to himself. "I'm Roan." Roan pulled off his coat and gently placed it over the woman. He checked. Her eyes opened, her mouth, and looked worried. "Very worried. She needs medical help fast," he muttered. "This could be neural shock. Or poison. Maybe even an infection." Zali looked up with hopeful eyes. "Can you fix her?" "I'll try," Roan said. He lifted the mother gently in his arms. She was too light for her size. He looked down at Zali. "Stay close to me, don't run off." They moved quickly through the streets. Zali ran beside him, holding his coat tight. She didn't cry anymore. She was too scared. Roan reached the alien medical center. The doors opened. A floating medic bot scanned them. "Patient not of human origin. Medical care denied." Roan stepped forward. "She's dying. You can't just let her die." A voice came from the intercom. Cold, robotic. "We are not responsible for alien refugees. Take her to your own kind." The doors slammed shut. Roan banged his fist on the metal. "Damn it!" He turned to leave but found 3 security guards staring at him. "No alien treatment here, soldier," one said. "She's not just an alien," Roan said. "She's a mother, not our problem." Roan looked down at Zali, whose eyes were now full of quiet sadness. He whispered, "I won't let her die in the street." Roan took a deep breath, turned a corner, and started walking toward an old locked gate deep in the lower district. The walls were cracked and old warning signs hung like ghosts. Zali tugged on his coat. "Where are we going?" "To a place no one wants to remember," Roan answered. They stopped at a tall, rusted door. On it was a faded symbol of the Earth. Alliance in red words. "BIO Lab 17. Do not enter." Roan stared at the door for a long time. Zali asked again, "Will she be okay?" Roan slowly nodded. "Only if what's inside can still help her." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a keycard. It was bent and old, but it still worked. The door hissed open. Darkness greeted them. Cold air drifted out like a breath. Held too long. Machines long dead sat in corners, and broken glass crunched under his boots. Roan stepped inside. Holding the shaking mother close, Zali followed, whispering, "Please fix my mom." Asterisk, the lights inside Biolab 17 flickered like weak stars. Roan stepped forward slowly, holding the shaking alien mother in his arms. Zali followed close, her small footsteps echoing in the silence. Dust floated in the air like ancient memories. "Is this a hospital?" she asked softly. Roan didn't answer at first. "No," he said finally. "This place was shut down after the war. They called it a lab, but really, it was a cage." Zali looked around. Strange machines stood in corners, some half melted, others covered in black stains. One wall still had blood on it, dried, old, forgotten. Roan gently placed the mother on a cold table. Her body twitched again. Her mouth moved, but no words came, just a groan. A painful one. Roan grabbed an old medical scanner. It buzzed, blinked, then sparked. "Dead," he muttered. He pulled open drawers, searching fast. "Come on, there has to be something useful in here." Zali climbed onto a nearby stool and watched him. Her legs shook. She was tired, hungry, but she didn't say anything. Suddenly Roan found something. A vial dot. It was half full, glowing green. A label was scratched across the glass. "Experimental use with caution." He stared at it. His hand trembled slightly. "Zali." "Noticed. What is that?" Roan didn't reply. He opened the vial and drew it into a tiny injector. "I don't know what this will do," he whispered. "But she's dying already. Doing nothing. Is worse." He knelt beside the alien mother, found a vein in her neck, and slowly pushed the needle in. The green liquid disappeared into her skin. For a moment, everything stopped. No shaking, no groaning, no breath. Zali gasped. Mom?" Roan leaned closer. "Pulse is dropping." Suddenly, the mother's back arched high, her mouth wide open, in a silent scream. Her eyes glowed for a second, then rolled back. Roan pulled Zali behind him. "Stay back." The mother crashed down onto the table. Her chest was rising and falling again, but her body was still. Roan scanned her again with an old handheld monitor. Her brain activity is strange. Like something is waking up. Zali clutched his arm. "She's going to live, right? I don't know." A loud knock echoed from the door they came through. Then another and another. Zali jumped. "What's that?" Roan froze. His voice was calm but tight. "We're not alone anymore." He peeked through a small crack in the lab door. 3 armed guards stood outside. Not city guards. These were in black armor. No symbols. No names. One of them spoke in a flat voice, like a machine. Subject 13 was activated. Heat signal detected. Prepare to enter. Roan's eyes went cold. They were watching this lab the whole time. Zali looked up. "Who are they?" Roan put a finger to his lips. "The kind of people who don't ask questions. Just shoot." Suddenly the mother began to twitch again. But it wasn't like before. This time it was stronger, sharper, like energy was building inside her. Roan turned back to Zali. "We need to leave, now." "But what about my mom?" "She's stable, for now. But if they catch us, bang!" The door flew open. Roan grabbed Zali and pulled her behind a wall. The black-armored soldiers stepped in, weapons ready. Their eyes glowed red under their helmets. They looked at the mother on the table. "Target identified. Begin retrieval." Roan's voice was a low growl. "Over my dead body." He pulled out a small blaster and fired. One soldier dropped. Zali covered her ears as the sounds of energy blasts echoed in the lab. Sparks flew. Metal cracked. The mother opened her eyes for the first time. She focused Dot, and then she screamed. Not a scream of fear, a scream of rage. Every screen in the lab shattered. Every soldier froze. Roan looked at her, stunned. What did I inject into her? Zali whispered in fear and awe. That's not my mom anymore. She didn't remember her name, not her home, not even her daughter. All the alien woman could feel was fire burning through her veins like liquid lightning. Her fingers twitched as her body arched again, this time with strength, not sickness. Opened her mouth, but no words came, only a sharp, unnatural growl. Zali peeked from behind a broken wall, eyes wide with fear. Mom? But the woman didn't look at her. She didn't seem to hear her at all. Roan stood between them, holding a broken metal rod as a weapon, breathing hard from the fight. 2 of the black armored soldiers were down. The last one was crawling away, bleeding sparks from his robotic chest. Roan turned to the mother. What are you? Her eyes locked onto him for the first time. Not with thanks, not with fear, with confusion. And something else. Hunger. Roan raised his hand slowly. It's okay, you're safe. I'm the one who helped you. She tilted her head, then she moved. Fast, too fast. In the blink of an eye, she was in front of Roan, grabbing his shirt, lifting him off the ground with one hand. Her strength was impossible. Stop, Zali screamed. Please. That's my mom. The woman froze. Something in the girl's voice cracked through the storm inside her. Her arm shook. Her grip loosened, and then she dropped Roan, the mother. Backed away slowly, her hands on her head like she was trying to stop a scream from coming out. Zali ran to her and hugged her legs. Please remember me, please. A single tear rolled down the alien woman's cheek. I know this feeling, she whispered in a rough voice. Warm, small hands. Soft words. She touched Zali's face. Then suddenly, her body collapsed again. Roan caught her before she hit the floor. She's overheating, he said. The injection gave her too much power, too fast. He looked around the ruined lab. Most machines were useless, fried by her scream. But one corner had something he hadn't noticed before, a sealed pod. Glowing faintly, he rushed to it. Inside was a half-destroyed med chamber, probably meant for deep healing during the war. He hadn't seen one of these in years. Roan pressed. The panel, please work. The pod opened with a hiss. He laid the woman inside, connecting old wires and scanning her body with whatever working tech was left. The screens flickered to life. Status, critical. Brain waves spiking. Heart rate unstable. Cellular decay reversing. Roan read the final line out loud. Warning. Subject is reactivating suppressed memory sectors. Memory sectors? He muttered. Zali sat beside the pod. Her face was pale, tired. What does that mean? Roan looked at her gently. It means your mother wasn't just sick. He pointed to the black armored soldiers. They didn't come because she was dying. They came because she was waking up. Zali looked confused. But she's just my mom, Roan sighed. I don't think she was always just a mom. Behind them, the last soldier, half destroyed, was still alive. He crawled closer, whispering in his broken voice. Subject 13 is a weapon. Zali froze. What? Roan rushed over and grabbed the soldier's head. Tell me everything. The machine man laughed, coughing sparks. 13. She escaped once. Had a daughter. You gave her back the power. Now, you'll all pay. And with that, he shut down. Roan stood still. Weapon. Escape. Suppressed memories. He looked at the Pozingless. Glowing pod. Inside, the woman's face twitched. Her eyes moved under closed lids. She's remembering who she really is. He said slowly, and someone doesn't want her to remember. BZZZZZZ. A red light blinked above the pod. Roan checked the scanner. Tracking beacon detected. Enemies inbound. His heart dropped. Zali whispered, They're coming again? Roan loaded his weapon. He looked at the sleeping mother, then at the brave little girl beside her. If this cure wakes the real her, then we're not just fighting to save her life anymore. We're fighting to save everyone else from her past. Asterisk there was no light, only a loud ringing in her ears, and the sound of chains dragging across metal floors. The alien woman floated inside a dream, no, a memory. She saw needles, metal masks, cold voices. Subject 13 is too dangerous. Her mind must be erased. Kill her child if needed. Suddenly, a new sound cut through the noise, a child's voice, soft and scared. "Mommy, please don't leave me." The woman gasped. Her eyes shot open, and she screamed. Not a normal scream, a scream that cracked the glass inside the pod. A scream that shook the walls of the lab. A scream filled with pain, fire, and rage. Roan and Zali were thrown backward. Sparks flew from every machine. Lights burst. The pod door shattered open, and smoke poured out. She stepped out slowly. Her eyes glowed gold. Her hair, once thin and tangled, now flowed with strange silver light. Her wounds were gone. Her body stood strong, too strong. Zali whispered in awe, "Mom?" The woman looked at her daughter, but something was wrong. Her face was cold, empty, like she was seeing a stranger. Roan raised his weapon slowly. The woman's eyes narrowed. "Where am I?" she said in a deep, unfamiliar voice. Roan didn't move. "You're safe. You were sick. We helped you." She touched her head. "I remember pain, burning, screams, experiments." Zali stepped forward. "Mommy, it's me, Zali." The woman stared at her and said nothing. Zali's eyes filled with tears. "Don't you know me?" The woman blinked. Something flickered in her gaze like a candle trying to light in the dark. I had a daughter," she said quietly. A small one, soft voice. "Always holding my hand." Zali ran to her and hugged her legs. "That's me." But the woman didn't hug her back. She turned to Roan. "Who are you?" "I'm Roan," he said calmly. "I found your daughter in the street. She was crying. You were dying. I carried you here. I gave you the cure." "The cure?" she repeated. Her hand touched her neck where the injection had gone in. "You woke me," Roan nodded. "And I'd do it again." Her hands began to glow faintly. Power hummed in the air. "Then you're a fool." Suddenly, a deep voice boomed from the ceiling speakers. Subject 13. Your location has been verified. Prepare for termination. Roan spun around. "They've locked onto the lab." Zali clung to her mother. "Don't let them take you. Please." The woman looked down at her daughter. Again, and this time, her hands stopped glowing. "Zali," she whispered. "I named you that after the sky on our old planet." Zali nodded, crying. "You remember now?" The woman gently pushed her back. "I remember enough. Enough to know we're not safe." Suddenly, the roof above them exploded. 3 dark ships hovered above. Soldiers in jet armor dropped down. Each one carried a glowing blade. "Engage. Do not let Subject 13 escape," Roan shouted. "Get behind me." But before anyone could fire, the alien woman raised her hands, and the floor itself cracked. She screamed again, not in pain this time, but in power. A shockwave shot out in all directions, throwing the soldiers back into the air. Roan stared at her in shock. She's not just awake. She's stronger than before. But as the dust cleared, the woman sank to one knee. Her body shook. Zali rushed to her side. "Mom!" The woman groaned. "Too much power. It's burning me up." Roan ran to help. "You can't hold it all yet. We have to run now." More soldiers were coming. The lab was falling apart. The woman grabbed Roan's hand. "Take her," she said. "If I lose control, don't let her stay near me." Roan looked at her firm. "We stay together." She looked down at her daughter again. This time, her hand reached out and gently touched Zali's cheek. "I'm sorry I forgot you," Zali sobbed, hugging her tight. "I never forgot you, Mom." Behind them, alarms screamed louder. More ships descended. But now the woman stood tall again. Her voice was calm, but deadly. Let them come. I'm not afraid anymore. The fire wasn't around her, that it was inside her. Flames danced through her memories, burning away the lies, the pain. And revealing the truth beneath. She saw a metal table, straps, needles, and cold voices whispering her. New name, Subject 13. But she wasn't born that way. She had a real name once, a real life, and a baby who used to sleep in her arms. A tiny heartbeat against her chest. That heartbeat brought her back. She opened her eyes again. And this time, they were her own. She looked down at Zali, who hadn't left her side even for a second. The little girl was sleeping, her head resting. On her mother's lap, she brushed a strand of hair from the child's face. I remember now, the alien woman whispered. They tried to take you from me, so I erased myself to protect you. Across the room, Roan stood guard. The lab door was blocked with old equipment, wires, and sparks. No one had entered in hours, but they both knew it wouldn't last. She. Awake? Roan asked quietly. The woman nodded. And remembering too much, Roan walked closer. Your powers, they said you were built. Modified. The woman frowned. Not built. Broken, and then rebuilt, piece by piece. They turned me into something else. Zali stirred in her sleep and mumbled, Mom. The woman smiled gently. I chose peace. I ran away from the fighting. I found a quiet moon. I gave birth. I named her Zali. For a time, we were happy. Roan lowered his head. And then, they found me. Her hands clenched into fists. They came at night. I told Zali to hide. I fought them, but they injected something into me. Not to kill me, just to erase me. So I'd forget everything. So I'd become harmless. Roan's voice was quiet but sharp. But you're not harmless anymore. She looked down at her glowing hands. No, the fire's awake again. But now I remember why I lit it in the first place. She looked at Roan with clear eyes. To protect her. Suddenly, a loud beep echoed from a console in the corner. Motion detected. Outside perimeter breached. Roan grabbed his weapon. There. Moving in again. The woman stood up and picked up her daughter in her arms. Zali woke slowly, yawning. You're not shaking anymore. The woman kissed her forehead. No, but they will be. Roan blinked. Wait, are you planning to fight them, alone? She nodded. You'll die, he said flatly. Then I'll die standing between them and her. Roan stepped in front of her. No, we fight together, but we do it smart. She raised an eyebrow. Smart? He pulled out a small disc and tossed it to her. EMP grenade. Use it when they group. I'll draw fire. Zali looked at them both. You're not leaving me, right? Her mother knelt. Never again. Suddenly, boom. The wall to the left exploded inward. Black-armored soldiers stormed in with stun guns and energy blades. Roan dove to the side and fired. The alien woman shielded Zali with her body, then stood tall, eyes glowing. Fire swirling around her arms. The lead soldier shouted, Subject 13, surrender the child and power down. She stepped forward. I'm not giving you anything. She said calmly, not my child, not my power, not my name. And with a roar, she unleashed the fire. Flames like living snakes burst out, wrapping around weapons and crushing metal. The walls trembled. Roan used the distraction to knock out 2 soldiers with clean shots, but more kept coming. Zali hid behind a broken medbed, watching with fear and pride. Her mother, once weak and cold, now burned like a star. But just as she knocked down the last soldier, her body flickered. She gasped, falling to one knee again. Roan rushed to her. You're burning up again. Too much energy. She groaned. I can't hold it for long. Zali ran to her, hugging her tightly. Please don't leave me again. And then something strange happened. The fire calmed. Her glow softened. And her voice turned warm. I won't. she said. Because you're my anchor now. Roan looked confused. What just happened? The woman smiled. She's the reason I remember who I am. And now she's the reason I can stay that way. Asterisk, the sky was bleeding fire. Black ships circled above the city like vultures, dropping squads of armored soldiers into every street, alley, and rooftop. Searchlights scanned every shadow. Drones buzzed in the air like angry hornets. A message played. Across every public screen. Asterisk, far below the city, inside the old water tunnels, Roan led the way with a dim torch. The alien woman followed closely behind, carrying Zali on her back. The child had fallen asleep again, exhausted from fear, and running water dripped from the ceiling. The air was thick and cold. Roan looked over his shoulder. We're not safe down here for long. These tunnels connect to the east exit, but they'll scan it soon. The woman didn't answer. Her eyes were sharp, always watching, listening. You okay? Roan asked. No, she said simply. But I'm strong enough to keep moving. Roan nodded. Good, because they're not going to stop. He paused at a turn in the tunnel and crouched near a rusted door. He pulled out a small device and placed it against the lock. It beeped softly and clicked open. Behind it was a hidden room, once a rebel hideout, long forgotten. They stepped inside. It was small and dusty, but safe for now. Roan sealed the door. Zali stirred and opened her eyes. Are we safe? Her mother kissed her forehead. For now, little star, Zali smiled faintly. I like it when you call me that. Roan lit an old lantern, filling the room with soft yellow light. Why are they after you so badly? He asked the woman. She sat down slowly, placing Zali beside her. They're afraid of what I know, she said. And of what I could become. Which is what exactly? Roan pressed. She looked him straight in the eyes. A weapon they couldn't control. Roan sat across from her. You said you erased your own memories? She nodded. I knew. Too much. Names, secrets, the locations of hidden labs. I even knew the list of every modified soldier like me. If I had been captured alive, I would have told them everything, under pain, under mind control, so I erased it all. Even Zali, it was the only way. Roan frowned. But now they know you're awake again. They'll hunt us to the edge of the stars, she said. Unless what? Roan asked. She took a breath. Unless I finish what I started. I didn't escape the lab to hide forever. I escaped to destroy the people who made me this way. Zali looked up at her. Will you fight again, Mommy? Her mother didn't answer right away. Then she said softly, only if it means you'll never have to. Suddenly, boom. The room shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Roan jumped up. They found us. A sharp alarm began to beep from Roan's scanner. Heat signatures closing fast. They're coming in through the tunnels. The woman grabbed Zali and stood tall. Her arms began to glow again. Roan unlocked the back exit. We run now, or we don't run at all. They burst out into the tunnels again, boots splashing through cold water. Behind them, flashlights and heavy steps echoed louder and louder. Zal, I clung tightly to her mother's neck. I'm scared. Her mother whispered, then hold on. I'll burn the fear away. They turned a corner and saw it. A bright wall of soldiers, lasers, blades, nets, traps. There was no escape. Roan raised his weapon. I'll draw fire. You run. The woman stepped forward. No, I will draw fire. She looked down at Zali and kissed her cheek. I love you, little star. Remember that no matter what happens, Zali cried. Don't leave me again. But it was too late. The woman ran toward the soldier's arms blazing with fire. In the heart of the tunnel, time slowed. Flames danced around her, bright, golden, alive. Her bare feet hit the wet floor, but the water boiled beneath her steps. Dozens of black-armored soldiers raised their weapons, but they hesitated. She was not a sick alien anymore. She was a storm wearing a woman's face, and she had nothing left to lose, except the child who still believed in her. Roan watched in disbelief as the woman charged ahead alone. Her glowing hands melted guns, bent steel, and shattered armor. Soldiers screamed and fell, unable to touch her. The air shook with each step she took. Behind her, Roan held Zali tight and whispered, "Stay low. Don't look." But Zali looked anyway, and she smiled through her tears. "She's not scared anymore," she whispered. "That means I don't have to be either." Roan blinked at the courage in her tiny voice. But something changed. The fire around the woman flickered. Then crack. She stumbled. Smoke rose from her back. She had taken too many hits, too many burns, too much energy. A soldier stood behind her now, unnoticed weapon raised. Roan's heart stopped. Nitrogen monoxide. He shouted. But before the blast came, Zali broke free from Roan's arms and ran forward, screaming, "Mommy!" The woman heard it. That voice, the one that pulled her back from the dark. She turned and saw her child running through the flames. Time stopped again. She dove. She wrapped Zali in her arms just as the weapon fired. A bright flash. Then silence. Smoke filled the tunnel. Bodies lay scattered. Only 3 figures remained. Roan, kneeling with burns across his arms. Zali, unharmed, curled up on the floor. And the woman lying still, motionless, her body smoking softly. Zali crawled to her side. "Mommy?" she whispered. Her mother didn't move. Tears filled the little girl's eyes. "Please, get up. Please." Roan walked over slowly, dropping to his knees. He placed 2 fingers on the woman's neck. No pulse. His eyes darkened. She saved you," Zali sobbed, shaking her head. "No, she said she wouldn't leave again." Then, a light. Faint. Glowing under the woman's chest. Roan's eyes widened. "Wait!" Her fingers twitched. Her chest moved. Once. Twice. Zazale, I screamed. "She's breathing." Roan quickly pulled out a med pack, applying every stim he had. The woman coughed, then opened her eyes. Zali cried harder and hugged her tight. "You came back," the woman smiled weakly. "I told you, you're my anchor." Later, the 3 of them stood at the tunnel's end. The fight was over. The fire had stopped. But something new had started. Roan looked at the mother. "They'll still come for you." She nodded. "Let them. I won't be running anymore." Zali held both their hands. "Can we go somewhere safe?" Roan smiled. "I know a place. Far out. No scanners, no armies." The woman looked down at her daughter. "Somewhere she can grow up without fear?" Roan nodded. "And somewhere you can heal." The woman's eyes shimmered. "I'm not a weapon anymore." She looked at Zali. "I'm a mother."